Hey, hey everybody. Welcome to a new edition of Talking Thangs. Oh shit. Yeah, I'm doing this today. I'm gonna have dude 12 Birds on. We're going to talk about art. He's a Seattle artist. He is part of, I believe he's part of the Greenwood Collective. Some stuff we'll talk about, I'm sure. Yeah. I don't have any tacos this week, but I just ate some amazing tacos. Like some legit of the best tacos I've ever had. And you can see it in my profile, or you can go check out my review on the other page I have, the New England Greasy Dives. But goddamn, they were good, and they kind of knocked me on my ass. So, but I got in here today. I've been doing some good work. I've been working on a Hannibal Twin Peaks painting that's going pretty well, and yeah, just doing the damn thing. It's a little later than I usually am working, but we're gonna do this here in a minute. Oh, I see 12 Birds is in here. So if you just click that join, I'll let you in, and we can start chatting about art. There should be like a little button that says join in the little chat function. There we go. There we go. Hey, dude, how's it going?
Good, man. What's going on?
Not much. Just, in here working. How about yourself? You just got off work, off the day job?
Yeah, I just got off the day job. I had to make a little impromptu background. So
I like that. Do you have like a chalkboard in your studio? That's pretty handy.
No, I'm actually still at work. I can't divulge where I'm at, but it's like I figured rather than hanging a piece of paper or something, the chalkboard would be the easiest, so that like as we're talking, I can make it interactive. I can do we could show like how I'm not able to like sketch realistically, and we can be like somebody in the chat can prompt in and tell me they want me to draw something, and we'll play some hangman or something.
Now that is something like, as a professional artist, I feel like I get asked all the time, like people like, oh, I want to be on your team in Pictionary, or will you come do caricatures at something, or just sketch this out for me in 2 seconds. But it's not a skill I possess. Like, I can do a great drawing if you give me a couple days to work on it, but like I'm not like a quick sketcher.
Oh, my sketching is horrible. And it's funny, two things about that. I actually worked a fair in Pasadena with somebody who does the like Magic Mountain style stuff, and it's a different skill, and I have a lot of respect for that. And then the other thing is what was the first thing you said? It was about or something else you said about sketching is just that, yeah, that's not me.
And people always assume because you could do one, it just like goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it's the Pictionary. So we actually, right out of art school, my first art school, we did a charity Pictionary, and they actually had the rules were that the other team could guess your drawing. So like we take too long as artists, but then like the other people would like guess off of our picture and cheat. And so it's like, when they do the all play, because most of it was like, all play and stuff like that. But I actually had a friend growing up, and we would play on snow days, and like I would draw like a squiggly line, and he'd be like frying pan, and like we were just on this different, so I do have that like intuition skills with some of my friends, but no, I'm not don't invite me to your Pictionary tournament.
Yeah, I probably would be better at the other side of Pictionary, which is seeing what people are going for than just like, I don't know. I always want to take too much time to draw something. I'm always like working out the eyes. That's not perfect. Let me erase it. Someone else is just head.
You're like doing the shading, and someone's like, why are you shading? Why are you shading? Just everybody else is doing this thing. There's that game Telestration, and then there's Telestration After Dark, and it's like the dirty version. But there's the one where you basically one person writes something, and then the next person in line they flip the book, and they have to draw it. But the evil thing about that for me is that if I know that my friend has to draw for their mother or mother-in-law, I will just write, I'll make something up. So they have to draw like the worst thing. And I totally cheat. Like, I'm like, no, you got to draw this for your mom.
I don't think I played that one.
Oh,
what's the old surrealist game, the folded paper? You know, it's like, it says some name like floating coffin, or it's not that, but it's something.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you draw this and you hand
Exquisite Corpse.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Floating coffin, exquisite corpse. That's pretty close.
From now on, we'll just call it the floating coffin. No, I really do appreciate you having me on, and this is like what I've been, just the fact that, being able to like have conversations about art, but also reach out to people, on the other side of the world. Hi, Erica. I see some of my friends on here, and it was like, it was funny when I mentioned, when you sent me the promo that you did, and then I did one, and I was like, I sent it to you on Messenger first because I was like, I don't know if he's gonna like that I cut his head out, and like, but I was like, I love our beards, and I love the fact like it's like cool to be able to like that old school like jib jab cartoon like floating heads and stuff like that. So it's definitely
totally. No, I mean I'm into it. These are all pretty low key, I find people pop in and out, and sometimes they ask questions. If anybody has any questions, feel free to shoot them. And then usually just like people just view them over the next couple of days as it goes. But they're pretty fun, It's just a conversation. It's just like what would happen in in the I was about to say the Baranoff, but I wouldn't go there anymore. Maybe North Star Diner or something, just sitting at the bar chatting about art.
That was because we ran the collective behind in the alley, we definitely had some battles with the people at the Baranoff. That was yeah.
I love the Baranoff back in the day, but like, God, man, they went full on right wing like last year.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on, motherfuckers, really? Yeah. You're in Seattle. I know you're North Seattle, but like, it really.
Yeah. I have to give Prize Girl Brandy a shout out because she was questioning whether we were cool a couple days ago, and now she's bored. She's gone from cool question mark to like we're cool. So
yeah. She's still on the fence about me, but
no, it's like it's been crazy because like I know what was funny when I copied your post to put the text on there. It was like I wrote COVID, and then Instagram was like, you wrote something about COVID, so we have to give you a fact sheet about COVID. And I'm like, so I changed it to Pandemica because I'm like, no, this has nothing to do with like, I'm giving no facts out today. This is just off the cuff. I'm wearing no sleeves. This is like,
yeah.
So yeah, this is not that, but yeah, it's been a trip to try to figure out like. I'm sure you've had shows canceled or other things, and we actually, we're working with somebody another artist in the Pike Place Market in the gallery, and then, the pandemic hit, and that person decided to move on, and it was just like one of those things like. Thank goodness, shout out to Mayhem here, another artist I share that studio with, and Mass Studios, that they had the like gall to like really want to do it and to just say, yeah, we're gonna do this. And I was like, okay, like I was that tentative on the fence, and And it's just like, you know, we took over the business and started Gradient Gallery in July, and it's been slow. But I'm telling you, when the governor said, like, phase 3 in Washington, like, I'm telling you, the Pie Place Market's like bananas. Like, it's
Oh, wow.
crazy. And we're not even talking like cruise ships yet, just like people
Yeah.
on foot, people from Portland, people from different places. And and the crazy thing too is why I knew it would work this whole time is because where it's not enough money to basically pay the bills, people were still coming in and buying original artwork, which was insane to me. You know, there were still
Yeah.
people like, "Hey, you sold that painting." I did what? Someone random just came in and like, and so it was good to know. Like, I'm always that type of person when other artists are making sales during these recessions. I'm good, but when no one's selling art, then I'm freaking out, you know?
Yeah. It was definitely a weird time, especially early going in, just not knowing. But there were people that were focusing on their living spaces because they're spending so much time there now. You know, the people that didn't lose their jobs, that are kind of like had extra money from not going out. And so I think people did in the beginning start like investing in their living space. Let's like make this home cool. Let's get some art up on the walls. Let's take down this framed IKEA whatever bullshit, which was nice. But I think it's kind of, for me at least, it's died down now.
Yeah.
But things are starting to open up again. So I'll be out there promoting. But why don't you give a little background on yourself, for like people that are gonna watch this that like are like, okay, what's the deal here? Tell about your gallery. And I think when I met you, you were part of the Greenwood Collective,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people are going to watch this with like a spliff in their hand and a beer in the other one at like 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, so, yeah, grew up in Seattle, like raised out here, and then went to a couple art schools, went to one in Seattle, went to one in Pasadena, and then, just started like came back just because I missed the Northwest and just, you know, California is cool. I love to visit. A lot of my peeps, like, I love California from October to March. It's a great place to go visit, but you know, this is my hometown. And so I came back and did the art thing. And, you know, eventually, yes, shout out to Thorn Street. um, but we, you know, a buddy of mine, Andy Miller, he actually knew a couple of my friends through the childcare, like through the community centers, and they had some owl show. It was like a group show over at Greenwood, and I didn't know anything about it. And it would go in this hole in the wall, and it's like this basement, and there's all these galleries. I was like, what the heck? And then you know, I did a couple show, you know, like pieces here and there, and then I got on with this guy Curtis Ashby Cash, and he's in Tacoma now, and he was running his Paper Diamond clothing company out of there. And we did that for a while, and then he moved on. And when he moved on, I took it over and created Collab. Thought rather than trying to run it like a gallery, I figured like we got this place with hardwood floor or fake hardwood floors, you know, really nice walls. Let's go handpick some artists that not only have that like caliber of quality that I feel like will make the place better, but also some diversity. So we had like a comic book artist, and we had like someone who did abstract. So we had that balance of like, so not everything looked the same. And,
Yeah.
you know, it was great. There were some challenges trying to get people to come out once a month. You know, the owners were not, you know, it just wasn't conducive to do that. And then, you know, things kind of changed with management there. And then the Pike Place Market opened up. And we were there for a year with an artist named Jesse Link, who's like out of Kirkland, does amazing murals and illustrations and paintings and stuff. And he's, from what I know, he's mainly doing like murals and commissions and, you know, busy and, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, Mallory Milky goes by Mayhem here. She's self-taught artist, amazing, like one of the most like, I would say prolific entrepreneur, self-taught artists like that I know that just will literally like hand make everything they do, purses, like stockings, just everything. And she was over at Collab. Her boyfriend Travis is amazing woodworker. He was there. And then we moved in with Jesse. And then when Jesse left, we brought on Mena, who goes by Mass Studios on IG. And she's like amazing as well, does cool space stuff. And also like the astrological, like, you know, signs and stuff. And so we've been there for a year, and we're starting to get that. It's gradientartgallery.com or something like that. You can Google it. And we're in Pike Place Market on the 3rd floor. Dave Ryan is also there too as well, and a couple of the artists. So it's a great floor. We got like a record shop across the way and bookstores, so people come down there. And we're starting to get those return customers, those people that like, oh, this is that place where I got that thing one time. And it's like, we're starting to get that, because for a lot of times people were like, oh, Jesse's not here anymore. And we're like, yeah, he moved on. So now we're starting to get that like payoff of being there for a year and getting that return, you know, stuff. And online sales too, we ship. So, you know, it's been good, you know.
That's a big thing. I'm glad I was kind of set up that way already for online sales, and like kind of built that up enough when this hit, because I mean, it's hard out there without the ability to reach people. And so much of social media especially is all clamped down at this point, where it's like, if you haven't figured it, if you haven't gotten to a like blue checkmark level, everything's so constricted as far as reaching a new audience.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was, I came on IG way too late for like where the algorithms and everything just kind of, you know, and if you're not feeding, no offense, but if you're not feeding deer and getting like 1 million likes off of that, like, or just eating a hot pepper, it's like, I don't know what to do, you know. But what I like about this, it kind of reminds me of, I've been interacting with some people also on Twitch and musicians and connecting with them and doing some projects of that. And shout out to Risky Biscuit Band out of Atlanta, Georgia. But, you know, it's been cool to kind of, the music community has really latched on with Twitch, and really like, you know, one group will go on and then another, and they'll leave and they'll raid another group, and they've connected that. And I feel like that's something we need to tap into as artists, because like I said before, yeah, you're competing against everybody and you want to make the sales, but when no one's doing well, that's when you should really start freaking out. And so I think ultimately supporting each other, having these conversations, like, you know, some of my followers, the one or two that follow me will follow you, and vice versa. I've already gotten some new IG followers, and ultimately that trickles down to, like, I don't even have a website. So I love just directing people to gallery, because I'm like, check out my art, but check out, you know, these other two amazing artists as well, because they're rocking and rolling. And it's like, you know, some of us are the world's, you know, best kept secret.
Yeah, I mean, I came from like a fine arts background, which I was doing for a long time, and then I kind of like came up with the Two Thangs idea, which, I mean, kind of has a fine arts slant, but it's more directed towards regular people and like crafters and like that sort of area. So I don't have to deal with like the fine arts world, which can be very snaky, unhelpful, you know, a lot of things. But like actually when I got into doing the fairs, like I think it was my first show where I bought a 10x10 booth, and I'm like out in Georgetown. I think it was the Georgetown Carnival. And I don't really know what I'm doing. I have like some paintings like zip tied to the side of the thing. I don't think I even had prints yet. I was just trying to figure my shit out. And I ran into Dave Ryan, who had, you know, yeah, he had Manticore already going at that point, and that guy hooked me up with, like, just tell me how it works, tell me what he does, tell me all these tips and tricks, some of which I still use to this day.
Dude is like mentor. I was just, as soon as you started that conversation, I was just about to mention him, and he is the mentor, because he'll just give all his knowledge out. He
was such a nice guy, and it kind of welcomed me into this space that was so different. But it's like, I try to do the exact same thing when I'm boothing next to somebody and they're just starting out. And I'm like, okay, let me tell you this and this, and this is what you want to do. You know, I try to give them as much as I can and like help, because it really is. It's a rising tide. All these shows, people, we are not competing against each other to sell painting. We're competing against IKEA and just like movie posters or like, you know, like all this
Even
other
like
bullshit.
little kids that come into like the gallery and choose. Like I remember these two kids came up and it was either I was at Alki Beach during the art fair or the gallery, and these two kids were homeschool kids. They lived in a bus with their family, and they literally were visiting a friend they used to live with, and they chose their money that they like pooled together. They chose to buy artwork. And that's like the fact that people are choosing, or sometimes rather than eating, choosing to like buy artwork, you know? And so that's, yeah.
100% feels, this is the best feeling, even if it's $10 whatever, you know, and it's you know, it's helping going towards a day that you're you know, not making much money or whatever. It just feels so good that people choose to just give what they have for a little piece of what you made.
Well, that's why I love the technology that's out there, whether it's like, you know, Vistaprint or Sticker App or, you know, Sticker Mule or like whatever different places where you can print stuff or t-shirts or everything. It's like, it used to be like, I remember the first sticker I made was like so expensive and so limited in colors. And now you can kind of do stuff. And the point what I'm trying to say is like, it used to be like, oh shoot, the market, they can't afford my paintings. Like I put hours and hours and I want to charge what I feel like I'm worth. Not even like what, like a Jeff Soto or somebody, you know, other people I went to school with that are these giants and that are charging, you know, can charge. Cause I've had conversations and they're like, I paint like a 2x4 like this big and I charge this much. And I'm like, but that's because that's your demand. That's not my demand. Yeah. And so what I love about like the prints and all that stuff, like at Gradient, we offer canvas prints, we offer paper prints, we have stickers. Like we have different ways that people can consume what we do. And that way, if someone wants to go, well, I want this giant painting, we can be like, okay, cool, pay this. If you don't, then you can still take home a print, you know, that where our margins are, where we're making a living, you know, off, because we're making a living off our prints. You know, we're not making a living off of originals, you know. Every once in a while, yes, but if I only sold originals, I'd be dead in the water. Like, you know, I'm not at that point. I'm not, you know, in high demand enough or the right spot where my stuff is consumable that way, where that's where I'm at. So I don't.
No, I mean, you got to recognize who you're selling to and recognize the benefits and the costs of that. Like, if you are making that guy you're talking about who's making this 4x4 painting, selling it for $3,000, something like that, you know, he's also going through a gallery where he probably has to give up maybe 60% of that money he sold it for to the gallery. He also then has to deal with only the super rich people that like have that just floating around, and they're probably looking at his shit like an investment. They're not even like, I like this. They're like, I think you're going to do something, so I'm going to buy this because I know I'll be able to sell it for more. Yeah. When you're bigger. And I mean, that was part of the game I hated, which is like dealing with those specific people at the art openings. And you see all the artists like crowding around the art buyer because they know like this person wants the story and they want like the story of why they bought this. And God, it was just a great
sells
game.
It though, but the story, that's the thing is like, even on Saturday, I was there for like open for 10 minutes and somebody came in and I was like, this painting is based off this, you know, native tale, the two wolves. And it was just like, boom, I'll take that. And that's because people, like I was describing doing t-shirt design as these three factors, right? For selling a t-shirt. It's like concept, like what do people like relate to? Like what is the connection? What is the art? Like, is it a cool drawing? Because sometimes like the drawing will just sell the t-shirt. It's so amazing drawing. Yeah. And then it's like, is there some kind of like punchline? So the way I see that is like there was a Ninja Turtles one where it was like, okay, I like the Ninja Turtles. And then it was literally a paper shredder with a Ninja Turtle toy going through it, and it was like Shredder. So then there's that concept, that nostalgia, all three of those things kind of factor in. It's like this shirt, like Ghostbusters. I love the design, and I also love the nostalgia of that connection of, you know, memory, like, you know, freaking out when that ghost, the first time I saw Ghostbusters in the movie theater. So it's like, that's what people want, and they want that conversation. And that's like, for me, I've sold, it's not like, oh, I've sold all this artwork, but I sold several originals. And it's not about, like, to me, it's like, some people are like, I'm gonna buy that, I'm gonna put that in my bathroom. It's like, great. Or you buy that, you never hear from the person, you never meet the person who buys your artwork. And for me, like, I like that conversation where someone's like either laughs when they see your work, or they like are kind of turned off when they see your work. Because to me, it's not about whether they love it or hate it. It's whether it invoked like an emotion or some kind of connection. So it's like, I love your work because I love your concepts and I love your style. But the reason why I chose the Ben Roethlisberger one is because I'm a Hawks fan. And so that moment, like, I share that one all the time with my friends. That moment where, like, I'm like, no, he didn't get in. And all the Steelers fans are like, we beat you. And I'm like, yeah, because Stevie Wonder was doing this. Like, so I love that piece because I connect to that, the punchline, but also that moment of history in sports, you know? And so you just.
Well, that's, I mean, the stuff you're talking about where you have these people having reactions to your work. I always felt like that was very much missing from the gallery side, but like a gallery like yours that's dealing with real people down at Pike Place, like, it's not like the arts district, you know, but it's like real people coming in there. I enjoy that interaction so much more. Like, people probably don't like maybe get the, you know, the like art history references, or like they're not talking about technique or anything like that. But at the same time, they're having real reactions. They're giving you honest thoughts. It's, you know, it's a good conversation almost every time when someone just comes in and you start talking to them. And I don't have to feel like I'm selling them anything. I just get to talk to them. I tell them about the stuff. If they like it, they buy it. If they don't, they move on, and I'm on to the next person.
Yeah, you'll get those people come in and be like, oh, I'm just looking. I'm like, that's okay. I'm like, we're not a, no offense. You know, people are the way they are for a reason. There's, you know, high-end galleries, do your thing, right? But I'm not going to be on my I'm working, but I'm not going to be on my laptop going like this and kind of giving you that smug look and then going back to work. Or like, you know, I'm going to greet the person. I'm going to say what's up. I'm going to say, thanks for wearing your mask, or hand sanitizers over there if you want to touch stuff. Obviously, things are different during the pandemic, but like, people are surprised to know. They go, well, is this your, first of all, they go, there's 3 artists, and they're like, you did all this? And I'm like, nah. Like, and there's you know, we have Mallory's son is in there. We have a guest artist now. We're doing, we'll have Barbie on Saturday. We're doing our first opening with our guest artist. So because things open up, we're gonna do that. And so, like, you know, it's the fact that people now know that they can meet the artists and have those conversations, because, you know, there is a certain value to the structure of having someone sell your work, that if they're a gallery person and they're educated about who you are. But like, one thing we run into, and they serve their function, but it's like when there's places that show artwork that don't have that staff dedicated to the true gallery, and they'll sell a piece if that person during the art party or during art walk finds the right person to buy it, but they're not going to sit there and tell you about the artist. They're not going to sell they're not going to sell the artist's work, and that's not what they're there for. And so there has been there is a view about artists that open up their own collectives or open up their own galleries, because we're and now with this new digital artwork stuff, there's kind of like, are we taking something away that, you know, like maybe like people don't think is ours, you know, to be able, you know, because I know that I've heard that artists that do their own thing are kind of looked down upon by some people and by galleries. And I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you. I respect galleries that take 50%, that put out those $1,000 ads, that have those clients that work, and they deserve every penny. I've been to art openings where they're having music acts and they're giving away food and they're treating the artists like, like kings, and those are like, I'm cool. But if you're gonna be like, hey, I have a coffee shop and I'm gonna charge you 50% for hanging up in the coffee shop, I'm like,
yeah.
If you can get somebody
I'm
to
with you,
do it.
and I'm talking a little shit here, but also I love going to galleries and then checking out the art. I just didn't like participating on the other side of that thing of having to be there and in that scene. It just wasn't me. But I do love the actual art.
What do you do with yourself? What do you do with your hands? Like when you're the artist, like the gallery person usually a lot of times won't introduce you, and you're just kind of like walk. I've been at galleries where nobody knew who I was, and not that I'm important, but like I'm just like, I could have been there. I could have been down the street. I could have been in the alley, and y'all would have never known. Like be like, where's Rob? Rob's in the back, like with a fog machine. Like, where is he?
And you just bring all your friends and then you hang out, because then you're like, well, I didn't even really talk to anybody new. These people have all seen my shit before. So, I mean, we just got drunk and I don't know.
I've been to shows where literally the only people that bought stuff were my own friends, and it's just like, but that's part of it. I mean, there's been great shows that were like, you've done shows with other artists or ones where you're like, it's almost like a homecoming. It's almost like just for a party, to have family, because how many times was I was in LA, or I showed in LA, San Francisco, New York, Detroit, other places, and my family and friends could have never come, and so being able to have those local Seattle shows is great. And that's, the one thing, this is kind of me just jumping around on topics, but my favorite thing were like shout out to Giant Robot. They're one of my first galleries, like pick me up and like put me on the map. And like, I love their group shows, because then it's like you're meeting, it's like, hey, we're doing, Year of the Ox or Year of the Rabbit. And then it's like I would go to those shows in San Francisco just for a group show and just have like 2 or 3 pieces just so I could sleep on somebody's couch and meet all these artists and like go out and do it. It's like,
love those. Yeah.
Going to Alternative Press Expo, like shout out to Southern Salazar who brought me there, and like, artists that like we drive up, sleep on somebody's floor and like, go do it. And it's like, I mean, that's crazy that I met like David Cho, and him and Souther and David and 2 other people literally had a 6-foot table, and they had lines at Ape. Ape had like 400 or 500 vendors, and they had lines like 20 people deep. And it's like, this is before that I knew David did like big art shows and stuff like that. And they were just doing comics, and they were just literally like, everybody knew who they were. They were the scene, and it was just insane. And that made me realize too, it's like that whole concept of like safety in numbers, or like you think we talked about, like you think you got to be your own table and like do the thing by yourself. But I'm scared to do an art show by myself, because who am I? Like, who's gonna want to come see me? Just me. So if I have my crew, like I know that it's gonna be a dope show. I know way more people are gonna show up. Like we did a show, it was like Access Gallery downtown, and somebody bailed, and I had 3 weeks to put together a show, and I brought on Joseph Brooks, Starhead Boy, and Claudio Duran. And normally it's like one painting. We hung up like 130 paintings, and like sales just boom first couple, day of the night, and like was crazy, because it's that group show that will bring the masses out, and it's for the most part like a more fun experience in my mind.
Yeah, I agree. There was some of the most fun shows I had in Seattle were the group shows that DRAWNK does. I don't know if you ever got in with those guys, but they're cool group. I think I'm gonna try and copy it and start a DRAWNK Providence, because it was just so much fun, and it was really nice how accessible it was to a person who was just starting out in art, or like people that were like really well established. So it was just it was a blast. But they would do fun shows too, like shows on a teardrop or shows on a record. And you just, couple months, come up with a little idea, put it in there, go to the opening, meet a whole bunch of cool people.
Well, yeah, that was the thing is like what DRAWNK did. Like Casey Weldon's now going to that. Can I say bastard on Instagram?
Yeah.
Amazing artist, went to school with him. He's moving to Vegas, but the whole thing he did with DRAWNK and all that community, like he was such like, a blessing to Seattle. And then you're going to do the same thing in Vegas. And then him and like when 1000 had Statics, like that was like dope because now you have this community. And then Statics was like, for the year that Statics was there or two, like they had that perfect venue,
Yeah.
that would have like allow that type of crowd in there. And the shows at Statics were just insane, and it was like, Peter is now in Michigan and Michigan is blessed, having him there and stuff like that.
Seattle is a special place to me. I was out there 12 years, 12 like really important years to me. Yeah. And my life kind of changed a lot. But like, I caught it, I think when I got there in about 2005, it was already kind of like, it was over the peak, it was coming down a little bit. And like, I am scared for that town post pandemic because of the amount of really talented people that have left the city. Because even as like the venues and the spots and the shows would get shut down, there'd be cool new stuff opening up. Like the Clock Out Lounge or all the stuff opening up in South Park and White Center. It was cool that all the creative people were still there, but I'm scared for that town when this is over because, God, I just know so many talented people that were just like, I can't keep paying this much to live in the city and kind of moved on. It's going to be a totally different town.
There's still, I'm telling you, but the thing is though, it's like there's a whatever. It's like there's an ebb and flow because as, it's like I work with kids and there's always that one kid that like takes 90% of our attention that's like out of control. And you think like for a while that kid leaves and you think that it's like quiet, but there'll always be someone to fill that void that like will be that kind of problem kid. And just like, so like, there's still, Jupiter, there's still a couple of spots. And I'm telling you, once this pandemic is open, like Gradient, like we're ready to fill that void because we're bringing in other artists. And we're also looking at artists that didn't get a chance to show. And I'm telling you, like, all I have to do is like back what Mayhem and Mass are doing. Like Mayhem is like, she's just like, literally like, if you look at the place, like when we took it over, like you got brand new floors. We like, coworkers, like artists were writing grants. Like we're printing our own canvases. We're doing, we're ready to go. And so like, if people want to leave and go out, like come back and visit, but we're ready to go. There's, hopefully someone else who has energy will take on DRAWNK. That's going to be a huge, who knows if DRAWNK will continue. I think there's enough people to do it, but it definitely takes, I think, cause I've been like in Casey's shoes, I know like that's a huge void because no one wants to do that organizing stuff. No one wants to write the grants. No one wants to deal with the organizing and stuff like that. It's easy to just show up. So hopefully there will be somebody who will take the reins on that. But I definitely feel like, I feel you because like, when Peter left, like that was a tough hit as far as the venue because that was like this, it was in the heart. He took an area, was literally across the street for like 2 or 3 missions that no one else really wanted. And like opened up a gallery that was successful. And like even beyond the art world, it's just like the creative world. And I really do. I'm pulling for Seattle to come out and new people step in, step up and replace. But I just fear that it's like, San Francisco thought the
thought the same thing that, like, oh, it's just such a creative town until like every artist got priced out and moved away.
Well, I agree with
And
that though. I agree with
yeah,
that then. Like with what you're saying is that, yeah, people will get priced out. I mean,
it's sad, man, because I mean, Seattle like was special to me as far as becoming the artist that I needed to become, because there's so many people that were just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do what I do, and that inspired me to be like, go out on my own and be a full-time artist.
yeah.
I would definitely never have done that if I stayed in all the places I was living before that. So I hope that remains. I hope it doesn't. I know it's already expensive, and and there's all these fucking jackasses moving into town, but I'm fucking pulling for it.
Yeah. Shout out to Jesse Art. He said DRAWNK will continue even if it's just casual. I agree. And he's an amazing artist. Like, check out his stuff. Like Jesse.art. He's an amazing painter. And that's the thing is, like, you meet these people that are so humble. They're just like so
Yeah.
talented and so humble. And like Jesse's one of them. There's like so many like amazing artists. So I just want to let you know this is what is
I'll take it, man.
what is the thing? So like we're gonna start the bid for Bitcoin right now. This
Yeah.
is a
A
this is
non-fungible token.
this is
Yeah.
a non-fungible token. Like literally after I erase this, this will not exist. And so like anybody who wants to purchase this can DM us and offer some Bitcoin. Even just one Bitcoin will get you this.
I'm gonna say that's a two things of Captain Haddock from Tintin and Neptune, God of the Sea, just coming in on the waves.
And if anybody in the chat, I know we only got 3 people watching, but anybody in the chat wants me to draw something, like that's what I'm here for. I'm here for that comedic. You see my drawing skills. It's not getting much better than that. I make the magic happen when I hit the iPad or the painting, the acrylic paint. So that's where my magic is. So I got a question for you. Like, I know you've done acrylic paintings. Like, are you doing iPad like Procreate stuff, or what are you up to? Are you doing?
No, I'm a physical artist, but I do a lot of the like initial stuff digitally. So I'll do like my sketches and that sort of stuff where I'm like sketching out. Because so like people order two things painting from me, they're all pretty much commissions, and they give me the two things, and then I sketch out like 2 or 3 different ways to combine the ideas, and that's all digital. I'll just do those sketches digitally and email them out to people, and then I print the sketches out so I can get the proportions exactly right and stuff like that. Transfer them to canvas before I start working on the actual painting.
Yeah.
So, but I do some like design stuff because that's it's work, and if it comes through and someone's like do my album cover or something, I'll usually give them the option for just digital work. In which case, it's like a combination. I like it's such a fucking Frankenstein operation, but it's like what I figured out. It's like I digitally do the drawing. I pick one I like, print it out, then I do it again in ink in real life, and then I get that, transfer that back to digitally, and then start doing the coloring process through there. But I just like my mark making. I like that physical touch, and I haven't been able to figure out how to really be comfortable enough within the digital sphere to get that stuff where I would present it, as a real thing.
Well, it was interesting because, like, I was teleworking for like 2 months when this thing hit, and like I was doing a lot of iPad stuff, and I love the iPad. I love Procreate, but definitely like I was in meetings where we'd get this news, and I had such anxiety about like being stuck and not knowing what's going on, all these things going on. And then like I found just grabbing cardstock off my shelf and just going physically with the pen felt so good just to draw. because like I needed to scribble. I needed to get that anxiety out. And then it was like the whiteout came out and like a little bit of black acrylic paint and drawings. And I was able to do some really cool sketches that way. I definitely have always been a more like physical painting artist, but I love the tool from like being able, it's almost like you get down that rabbit hole though, because I take a picture of something and I'll sketch on top of it. And then I'll like, oh, but I want to change this color. And then I want to do this. And it's like an infinite possibilities. The one thing I do like about it though, is because you can get like, you can do those really bright colors on top of blacks or other stuff. And you don't have to deal with the real world of paint where
Yeah.
like trying to get golden or Liquitex or anything to like really like be opaque or flow down a certain way. It's just, you don't have to do that. But I still got a mirror. You know, I've done a couple projects, which I like digitally. I don't know. I think I got some of my stuff I can show you, but I still want to marry with like figuring out how to get stuff to be more texture. But this was a painting that I redid. Originally it was hand painted and he didn't have paws. And so I went back in and then I kind of changed. It used to be just all on a white background. So I went back in digitally with that one. And I feel like, you know, and that's the thing with me is like, I'll redo stuff, you know?
Yeah.
This is an acrylic painting I did on an illustration board. And I actually cut the illustration board another piece because I didn't allow enough space. So I had to like extend the painting over. I did this painting right before a second Super Bowl that they lost. And I sat on this one for like 6 months before I finished it because I was so bummed. This is a piece that I did, like this is for a giant robot. We did Year of the Horse. So I was like really into the bird thing. Used to not paint other animals. So I kind of like went and did that.
That's, yeah.
This is digital, like shout out to watching Jeremy Gregory, Candy Teeth Live. Like he kind of got me into using the more crayons and the more like the pencils with doing digital stuff, and it gives like more of a texture feel. And
you are side question of just seeing that one. Are you doing the game of shrooms this year?
I don't. Oh, is that the one where you like hide the stuff?
Yeah, they you do a mushroom piece of art and then you hide it around your city. Put clues up.
I always miss that.
It's in June. I did it for the first time last year and just had a blast. I'm definitely doing it again this year.
We did. So we have like Mini Mayhem, which is Mallory's son. He did kind of something similar but different. He did this is acrylic painting I did a while back. He did like made these little mushrooms and put them in the gallery, and they were like a little out of Sculpey, and then someone had to come in and find the mushrooms, and then they fill out the scorecard, and then like each mushroom had a letter next to it. And so that's like when I did this one, I did this for the mushroom sticker pack that we gave away, and then I actually made this into like a full-size sticker later in the day. So let's see if I have that in my pocket. But yeah, so I mean, if you remind me or someone wants to remind me, I'm just like all over the place. I love.
I know. I was lucky because of pandemic last year. I was like, I'm actually going to do this. I'm focused in, you know. So but the year before, I totally was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Oh, it's already gone. It's already passed. But it's good. I mean, now it's a worldwide event, which is pretty rad.
That's dope. Yeah, I'm all for. There's this artist I'll share with you later, but this artist that does these things like they just like hang on telephone wires and stuff. And it's like I saw one today in Ballard, and it's dope. And it's like I love that people put artwork out there. One of my favorite things are those little hearts or little peace rocks that people put out, and it's just like sharing art. Like art can be free, you know, and that's like. Oh, Buckley, what's up? My buddy's out there. That's dope. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's cool that to be able to do art installations or things out free for the masses, because it shouldn't just be about like, you know, whether you can go to art gallery or this and that. It should be like art should just be there, you know.
It's a hard line as a professional artist, you know, because you have to value your work. You have to put value on it, and say, like, I mean, how many times do people, you know, come at you for, you should just do this for art should be free, or, you know, whatever.
You should make a
Then,
T-shirt. If
yeah.
I had $1 for every time someone said you should put that on a T-shirt.
But at the same point, like, it is fun to participate in things where the art is free and you are just like putting this cool thing out into the world. But it's got to be your choice. I feel like somebody asked me, like, hey, like, why don't you donate this huge painting to this charity I'm running? I've never met you. I don't, you know, I don't know. I get hit up like that all the freaking time, and I'm just like, I get you're trying to do good, but why don't you go to a plumber and say, like, hey, why don't you do $500 worth of work for my charity? It's like, no, you're just doing this to artists, because basically, I mean,
yeah, it has to be the right people. I mean, I met some people that were working on like a community center. It was a house, and it was like, you know, they did tutoring and stuff for kids on the spectrum. And they talked to me about, they just mentioned, and I just kind of jumped in on, like, you know, it never happened, but like, I'll do paintings for like causes that I believe in, you know. But I totally agree. I mean, it's funny you brought that up about doing free stuff. It's like, it's kind of like, I call it the Starbucks or the McDonald's thing. Those are two of the most consumable like things that everybody just like goes and pays for. And granted, you can get like free coupons and stuff like that. But if you ever gone to McDonald's or you ever gone to the Starbucks and be like, so they're like, I'd like, you know, triple tall mocha, this and this, and they're like, that'll be $7.50, and you're like, actually, I only want to give you this.
Yeah.
You ever do that? No, like, no, you don't. So it's like, you never go to a steakhouse and say, I want that $50 steak, but I only want to give you $20. But people will do it at art. So it's like, I just, you know, I have, you know, sometimes I've had people that go up to, you know, at the collective, they come in and they say stuff like that. And I'll be like, I'm like, you gotta, I was like, I'll trade you your car keys. And they're like, what? And I'm like, well, you know, I was like, you want this painting? You can't afford it. I was like, I can't afford your car, so I'll take your car. Like, well, it's not worth it. Well, your car's not worth the same when you drive it off the lot. So like, you know, we're good. I get a car, you get a painting. You didn't spend any money. I get a car I can sell for $1,000, pay the artist what they deserve. And then I get some money too. So like, we're win-win, you know. It's like, it's like, you know, it's just tough. You know, people will always undervalue art. And it's frustrating, you know. And this is why, like, I will never stop being an artist, because I'll die. Like, it's literally like if you take a plant and you stop watering it, stop giving it sun. But like, the reason why I haven't done this or this and this is because I am my own worst enemy, and I have such a, like, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I've gotten in arguments or fights over the dumbest stuff, and I literally cannot, like, I won't back down for stuff where I'm like, no, I'm not going to let you like roll me over. Like, it's not going to happen, you know. And it's like unfortunate, you know, but I just, it's like, but then the thing is though, like, I will give, like, little kids come in and I know they're inspired to do art. Not only will I give them some of my artwork, but I'll, like, if I know them, how many times have I gone to the art store and just like drop bills and just be like, this is for your kid, so that they can be an artist. I have all these extra art supplies here because it's like, I want to be that inspiring person. But if it's somebody they just don't want to pay for it.
Well, it's a choice, you know. If it's your choice to do this, then like, that's one thing. But then when people try to push it on you just because it's, you know, it's insulting. That's more than anything. It's like,
that's the gallery thing though, because there were people, like, I understand if you want to give percentages off to people who buy multiple things and things like that, but there were like, it was like, I was told by certain galleries, price your stuff low because nobody knows who you are and you want to sell, And then on top of that, then last second, they were like, we're going to give them 10-15% off just from walking in the door, for being someone who bought something before. And I'm like, okay, or like that kills me. Like you're not, or it's like, people who would like be like, oh, well, I want something else from you here. Just have this artist work. It's like, you're just giving it to them. Like you're devaluing what I do. And it's like, you're basically like undervaluing what I do. And that's why like artists, like going back to David Cho, that's why he was just like, no one respected me till I started stacking zeros on the end.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but his art is also, he's a different human. Like he is, like on a different level. So it's just like, that worked for him. But it's just, yeah, art's crazy. And another crazy thing too is seeing that like the Banksy movie, like the Exit to the Gift Shop.
Yeah.
Like I remember going to shows like at Shepard Fairey's gallery, like with Space Invader and his cousin. And I didn't know all that was going on. It was crazy. Like I had no idea that was going on. And I totally like might have even been in LA when all those shows were going on. But I remember the dude videotaping. I didn't know he was an artist. I didn't know he did anything. But I remember him being there with the camera. And I'm the type of guy with Hollywood, like I don't want to be anywhere like near a camera,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it's just each artist is different,
Yeah.
I feel like the people that can almost just like, they can compartmentalize it and they can just be like business people. Those are the people that can like be really successful because it's like, if you want to make a living out of it, you got to be so thick skinned and you got to be so go-getter and you got to just like, you got to be a champ, you got to really like want to spar with some shit,
It's a whole different side to the thing that people don't get. The business side, when you're out on your own too, business side takes up way more of your day than you want. You think like you're going to be painting all day, but actually you're excited when you get to paint because you're sick of like running books, doing social media, updating all the different things with the new work and finding new avenues to sell your shit. And it's pretty draining stuff, but I don't know. There's a lot of benefits too. I feel like when I was doing art as like the side of the day job, I don't know that I pushed my work wasn't progressing as quickly as it has in the last 6 years. Yeah. So I mean, there's good and there's bad, but you gotta love it. You gotta love all of it, or else you'll burn out. That's only because it's like it's not a 40-hour a week job; it's an 80-hour week.
Oh yeah,
it never
definitely.
should come.
It's my favorite thing is my job is when I get up and when I close my eyes. Like it's yeah. And for me, like
do what you love, and you'll you'll work every second of every day of the rest of your life.
Yeah. And it's also for me too, like a lot of people are like, why aren't you painting and why don't you do this? Like I'm like I feel like for me it's like growing, like farming. Like I got times where I gotta like hibernate and I gotta like feed my mind and I can't just like pump out like all the time. And that's just me. And some people are more successful other ways and they can just do it. But like for me, like it's just, it takes time to like, pile up the sketchbook pages or do other stuff or just, and then the other thing is like, I like to switch it up. I like to do something else for a while. And that's why I like the digital, because I feel like I can jump between digital and painting and then get that break, and then also like I like to do stuff by hand and some sculpture stuff and mess around. Like I spent more than an hour repainting like a chicken that I got at Ross, because I wanted my rooster to have beautiful colors. And sometimes like doing that and learning about that and just taking that pause, but still doing something creative, like that you need to kind of, or some of us need to transition over and to breathe a little bit in between the seasons. But I have a question for you.
I'm going to knock on wood here and say I'm very fortunate with my concept because it never gives me a chance to stop or slow down because I've always got that starting point of the next thing. Like somebody else comes the hardest thing is when your brain really gets mentally drained is that start. That's the hardest thing. Once you're going, it's a lot easier. And so I've always got that. And then also, since I'm not coming up with the ideas, they're always a different challenge. I might be working on a building one day, and then a person the next, and whatever. And it's nice, but it also, like, I don't know, eventually I will totally burn out because I never have the time off, where it's like you're talking about hibernation or whatever. It's good and it's bad.
Yeah. So did anyone email you yet? Did anyone buy this thing? Because it's going away.
I didn't get any, but once this gets viewed in the future, people will chime in and say, "Oh my God, $5 million." Is that guy Beeple? Yeah.
I just want to. I do have a question I'm going to get to in a second. I want to know what this madness behind you is, but first I want to plug my. I have this. It's what's it called, the currency. I have RobCoin, and I just want to let you know about it. Is if you give me $5, I will give you one RobCoin. And what it is I take a penny with a Sharpie and I put a 5 on it and I put RobCoin on the back in really small letters, and I will sell you that penny I will sell you that RobCoin, sorry, not penny, that RobCoin for $5, and you can use that RobCoin anywhere. Like some of these places you can't use Bitcoin to buy stuff. In other places you can use RobCoin everywhere. So I just want to put that out there that anyone wants to buy RobCoin, I'm continuing, it's a slow business model, but
I like it.
So
it's a good
what's
business.
that madness behind you? What are all those are those all your paintings, or those reference, or what is that?
You can see the whole thing.
Oh, it's
here.
a poop. It's a poop emoji.
It's the poop emoji.
Yeah.
Basically, so like the general concept behind Two Thangs is more that the entire collection of paintings is the real piece of art that I'm making. Each individual painting is its own thing that I make for a person, but the idea of all these paintings that people all over the place have come up with the foundations for and worked with me on is the thing. So I started doing these big wall-sized kind of mosaics, I guess. But yeah, it's like about the 200 paintings that I've done so far, all organized by color and design as little pieces forming these giant wall installations, which hopefully I'll be working on next year some more, do a couple more. This was my first one that I did, and I've got a couple more in the bank. But they're fun. I think they get the point across a little bit more.
Well, so you stole that from South Park, right? Because the whole point of South Park, why they started doing animations, was so they could animate a Christmas poo. That was their whole thing. So you basically created all these paintings all these years so you could put together that giant mosaic.
I hope to hit all the most popular emojis.
Yeah.
Get the thumbs up. I think the thumbs up will be a good one. Peace sign. All the grapefruit eggplant.
Grapefruit.
So
what do you? I know what a peach is. I know what an eggplant is. But what are you trying to say with your grapefruit?
Yeah, I mean, they're just very, they're kind of very interesting, simple ways of communicating. Emoji.
I feel you. Did you know you can buy grapefruit with RobCoin?
I mean, you gotta have a lot of RobCoins.
Yeah, you have to have I think it's a couple thousand RobCoins. You go to the store with your RobCoins, you're like, no, he said it's worth 5. I don't know who'd be selling you magic beads.
I mean, maybe is RobCoin accepted all over the market at full $5 value? You got to work that out with your people.
Yeah, I'm still working that out. We're still figuring out that it's in the cryptocurrency. It's like sometimes the transaction's a little off. It's the calculations. We don't have those high end computers working for me. It's like
Yeah.
those hamster wheels. And sometimes it
Just, whenever people come in with their Rob coin, go, oh my God, the currency just dropped. This is worth a penny now. The valuation has just been tanking this
it
week.
conveniently drops every time you try to spend it. But as soon as you spend it, you leave, it jumps back up to 5.
Of course, yeah.
I just want to share a couple more pieces. This is like one that I did. This is what I was kind of talking about with the bird sushi is like,
oh yeah,
people would come in and some people would be like, oh, they'd laugh and they're like, oh, that's cool. And the other people would give me like the stink eye, like I offended, like I kicked a puppy or something. And I'm like, this is not real. Like, this is my imagination. Like, I did not, like, this is not like, I'm not an old school artist where I actually make the still life and then paint from it. Like, this is like, I like birds and I like sushi and boom, there's the bird sushi.
Oh, wait. 1 second. I got to shout out to No Context Flare Means joining if they're still there. That's one of my favorite Instagram accounts.
Oh,
he just posts Ric Flair interviews on Twitter and Instagram. It's kind of the best thing ever. I watch it like every day.
Have you seen the Wu-Tang sticker? And it's
the Wu. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. So good. But yeah, that's a cool painting. I like the bird sushi.
Yeah, and that was like when I did some like installations based off, because I was like, for a while I was getting kind of bummed because art wasn't doing it for me. And like I watched this movie Tomorrowland, and the little kid was like, Hugh Laurie's character was like, why are you gonna make a jetpack? Like, that's so stupid, it's not needed for anything. And he's just like, if I was walking down the street and a homie rolled by in the jetpack, like I'd be like, I want a jetpack too. Like he said, I want to be an inventor so I can inspire people. And, that was when I kind of went out the yard outside of Greenwood, and I took a bunch of branches and I planted them in the ground and I painted them blue and made these trees. And I created a park, and then other artists would put stuff out there and people would come talk to me, and all the a-holes at Baranoff that were jerks, they would like protect the trees, and they would like talk to me, and they would like come out. And I'd be like, no, this is my buddy's project. And it was like that inspiration and that curiousness that I love about art. And that's like a lot where now that I've taken that philosophy and like, is like that art to inspire, and to like, why I love doing it is because it's great. You can create something and people are like, that's pretty. But like, I mean, like when you did the Randy Savage and ODB, I'm like, why are these two things together? And you're like, oh, they share the same birthday. And it's that connection that I dug into. Why are you doing this? And that was like, I think art that does that is what I enjoy, where it's like, it's like pieces like this is a totally homage to Picasso, just that connection, that I had and millions of people have had to like other artists, and so two of my favorite pieces are these ones, and people are just like, they come in the gallery all the time and they're like, what kind of drugs does this guy do? And I'm like, what is the like more on thing is that like I'm sober when I do this, like it's like, I'm that cray, that I'll create these weird worlds, so it's a fun opportunity to be out there and be in the public eye and get a chance to have those conversations. I mean, that's what I love about, I miss being at the gallery. I'm still doing artwork there, or doing artwork for there, but I miss being there because getting to meet the people and having those connections,
I mean, that's my favorite. I love the connections. I love people connecting to artwork. Like, like the whatever, someone in Seattle got some weird ass painting of this thing, and then I'm out in Minnesota, and someone is flipping through the prints, and they find this one that's maybe never sold before, but they're like, holy crap, this is like my favorite two things in the world too.
Oh, shout out to Sea Dragons. Sea Dragons. That's what I was talking about. I just saw Sea Dragons piece over in Ballard today. And that's what I was talking about, like that artwork that's just out in the public.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so dope that you just jumped on. I was talking to Awesome about your stuff.
Well, that'll be one to check out later for me.
Yeah, yeah, that's dope. Where are you going? Are you going? Which spot you going?
Center.
Center.
I don't fuck around. I gotta go corner.
Corner.
The block. The block.
Okay.
Not that corner.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard him say corner.
I said block for the block. Yeah.
I never said, it's like Rob Coin. I never said that your experience was going to be a genuine one. This is do you got stickers out there?
I just do runs of stickers when they come up on special, and then I throw them in with orders usually.
Yeah. This is I designed this for that Risky Biscuit band in Atlanta. So this is their dog biscuit.
Nice.
And so we're doing this on stickers and then T-shirts and some mugs. So they're a dope variety act, cover band. They do some original music. It's crazy because they actually know. That was the crazy thing about Twitch is they know two of the main members know my cousin who lives in Atlanta.
Oh wow!
And the music.
It's a small world in the creative world.
It
is
so small,
tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like. I'm like, do you know my cousin? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So yeah.
Well, all right. It looks like we're at about an hour, in which case I've learned that's a good time because one time I let my phone die and it just erased the whole thing. So let's not do that.
And I know that Instagram's got like a limit of how long you can do it. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it's been good. It's been fun chatting with you, man. Glad the gallery's getting like eyes again and people are coming out. Stay safe in there. Hopefully, I think Seattle's supposed to be getting that vaccine pretty soon if you haven't gotten it already. Yeah. So stay safe, man.
Cool. Thank you, sir. I really do appreciate your time. You have a good night.
You too. Take care.
Peace.